I'm very excited to talk to our next guest. I've been bothering him for quite some time, and thankfully, just a couple of days ago, via text message, he agreed to come on the program. So let's not waste any time. Let's say hello now to the former UFC bantamweight champion, TJ Dillashaw, kind enough to join us. TJ, how are you?
I'm doing good, my man. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's great to talk to you, and I'm sorry for bothering you so much over the last few months, and I'm really happy that you finally replied and agreed to come on the show. Thank you for this.
Yeah, man, it was a much needed escape. I had to, get away, get my mind right, and deal with everything that I got going on.
How are you doing? It's been around 7 or so months since we found out the news about your suspension and the failed drug test. How are you doing now here, end of the year?
It was a rough 6 months. I went through double shoulder surgery as well as dealing. So obviously down in the dumps, and then not being able to work out or be active and keep my mind clear was it was real tough. I'm going to be honest. Mentally draining, and I've pushed past it. I've had to deal with adversity and my decisions, and what I've been dealing with.
Is it almost possible that the mental side of things was harder to deal with than the physical side of things? You mentioned the two shoulder surgeries. This was a good time to do it, but to deal with the blowback and the criticism and all that stuff, everything that comes with something like this, I'm assuming some depression as well. You're feeling down on yourself. Was that almost harder to get over than the actual physical injuries that you were suffering, that you had to, you had to deal with the surgeries and whatnot?
Yeah, I think the physical injuries added to it.
Okay.
Obviously it was mental. I mean, everything was mental. I mean, physically, I can deal with pain. I can deal with getting the surgeries done, and it was much needed. I've been needing them for. I've been fighting for three horrible shoulders, but I think it just added to the mental stress of what I had going on because I couldn't clear my mind. I couldn't even go out for a run. I mean, I was in a sling for 12 weeks total. 6 weeks in the right shoulder, then 6 weeks in the left shoulder. I did them back to back. Couldn't do them at the same time. I wouldn't be able to feed myself or wipe my own ass. So I didn't think that was a good idea.
So one thing that's interesting is sometimes when we see someone in your situation, like they just kind of disappear, they don't do anything on social media, they don't post anything, they don't do interviews. You've kind of done the opposite. I know you haven't done a ton of interviews, but you have your video blog series that you're quite active in terms of updating and whatnot. You post on social media quite actively as well. Why did you decide to do it the opposite way than the typical person who's going through what you're going through?
I haven't hid from any of my decisions. I made a mistake and I to it. I'm not going to hide from it. I feel like that just shows weakness as well. It's just letting people involved in my life, good or bad. Um, I made a mistake, and I was going to own up to it, and I was going to let everyone in on my life and the challenges I have going on, and it's been tough, and I want to show that. No reason to hide.
One thing that I think about when I think of your situation is like you were on the verge of making history, 135 champ, trying to get the 125 champ, and then you lose the fight, and then this happens, and it all kind of like you could have gone down like legendary status, and now you go down this path. Does that come to mind a lot when you think about how the past year has gone, like how close you were to actually doing something that never has been done before, and now you're in this position where you have to completely rebuild your legacy and try to come back from this?
Oh, absolutely, man. I mean, that's kind of why I made the decision I made. I fucked up. I decided to do something that wasn't good for myself. I got down to 4% body fat, anemic, and decided to do something I knew I shouldn't have. Um, and it was tough. And I think the super hard was that the people that had to deal with it the most are the ones that I loved. My family, my friends, my teammates, my coaches. I mean, my coach, especially Sam Calvita, caught so much flack for this and had of anything that I was doing, and that's what I feel the worst about. I mean, obviously, I felt horrible for myself and going from being on top of the world to kind of plummet. But ultimately, the people that I affected, if they didn't have any decision making on what I did, it was all myself, and they had to deal with it just as much as I did, if not more.
So you tested positive for EPO. Why did you take EPO?
I took an anemia medication called Procrit, which the main ingredient was erythropoietin. It helps rebuild red blood cells, and when you become anemic, your red blood cells start to plummet. You lose energy. I was on a super strict, 1,600 calorie diet and working too hard. Just I pushed my body to the extreme, man. I mean, no excuses. I made the mistake of wanting to do something that hadn't been done, and sold my soul to the devil, and now I gotta build myself back up and deal with it, right?
Do you recall how many days or weeks before the fight you took this substance?
It's like 3 or 4 weeks, something like that. I was down, getting down to that bare minimum weight where everything was affecting me. I didn't want to wake up and train in the morning. I mean, I had to lose a bunch more weight, and I didn't want to go to the gym. I didn't want to run. I didn't want to do what I had to do. Um, yeah, so I got drug tested, and then I decided to that I'd be able to be clear until the fight, and so I fucked up and made that decision.
And
I like I said, I wanted to make it to the fight. I wanted to do something like you said that would have been unheard of to do, and yeah, man. I mean, I let it get the best of me.
And you mentioned like you know your team, your coaches, your trainers didn't know about this. How did you even come to the conclusion that this was something to take? How did you find out about this?
I was looking into what was going on with me. I'm very scientific in the way I work with my body. I test my hormone levels. I do hair analysis. I diet. Super calorie. I mean, everything we do is down to a T. And I knew something was going wrong. And so when I went and got a blood test done, I knew I was coming to meet anemic. It felt like the short term answer. Like if you're 3 or 4 weeks out, I didn't know how I was gonna be able to bounce out from that. I wanted to be my best self when I stepped into that cage, and it was just the quickest route. Just letting my bad judgment and pressure get to me.
And did you feel better after taking it? Did you sense that it worked?
Oh yeah, man, I was coming back to normal. I got my hematocrit was down in the high 30s, and I was coming back to mid 40s, which your hematocrit is your red blood cell ratio. And so, yeah, I mean, you can definitely feel that I'm back to normal energy. Like I didn't mind waking up in the morning and having to hit a run. I mean, I was running 5 days a week to make the weight on a certain diet, doing base, having to become a triathlete. So yeah, I mean, I needed the energy to be able to even push to that.
And you didn't tell anyone. Like you went completely rogue here. You didn't tell anyone about this.
Yeah, man. I mean, that was. I mean, it's even hard to talk about it now. How the heck about it and making a decision like that? Of course, I wish I would have, because I would have been obviously talked out of it, and I would have been told by my coach it was unneeded. I mean, shoot, looking back on it now, I'd have been better off to bail out of the fight.
Yeah.
Look, man, I've been as upfront as possible with everything. I've admitted to it, and it's almost seemed like it's been a little bit harder at first, but coming around to it, I'm happy that I've I relinquished the belt before even any kind of decisions were made by USADA. I admitted to it as soon as it was coming, uh, and because I wanted to put it behind me. I wanted to deal with what I did. I made a mistake, and I feel like the best what I've been taught is to handle it straight on instead of continuing to hide from something and run from it and cover it up. And now I'm moving past it. And this is obviously, other than Chael's podcast, this is the first time I've ever really sat down and talked about it. Enough excuses, enough bullshit about it, like what I did. It's time to move past it. It's time to start thinking about my career. I'm able to start. And I just came from practice. Cub Swanson was running practice at the training lab. So I'm able to start getting active. I'm able to start pushing forward. So obviously, I owe so many sorries to a lot of people, but ultimately, the people I love and the people that it affected the most, which is my teammates, my coaches, and my family. Um, there's nothing else I can really say.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate the fact that you came out. You broke your own news. I remember when you posted that statement on Instagram. Was that important to you? Was that something that you said that you needed to do? You wanted to get out of it, so get out, in front of it first, so that no one is saying anything in between the time that the statement comes out from USADA or the UFC or New York, and then you come back. It's very rare for someone to actually break this kind of news about themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I just knew that I made the mistake. It wasn't like it was an accident. I did it, and cover up something shitty with another lie or hiding behind something, and man up to your mistakes. I mean, everyone's got skeletons in their closets. Everyone makes mistakes. I feel like it's how you handle it and how you bounce back from it really show your true character. And if you're someone that says you've never made a mistake, I don't fucking trust you anyways, because everyone has. I mean, um, and now it's just me being able to save face and do whatever I possibly can, and apologize and work my ass off. I mean, I know that there's no one in this game that'll work harder than me. I've proven that, and I will come back and I will be back on top, and that is a guarantee. It's only been what I got 13 months now, and I'm already hungry as shit. I'm getting back to training. I'm feeling good. Um, yeah, man. So I got to do nothing but look forward. I mean, I got to hash out the past right now. With I figured this is the best way to do it. When you reached out to me, I felt like I was finally ready to come out of hiding a little bit, which that hiding was much needed. I got to spend a lot of time with my son. Um, I wouldn't call it a blessing in disguise because I would never do this. I would never choose this, obviously, but I decided to roll with what I did and spin it for a positive for myself, right? I mean, every negative you do or every loss you take, you got to spin it and find the positives out of it. And for me, it's been that year, this last time I got to spend with my son growing up. He's about to be 2 years old, and that first year of his life was super hard for me to on it because I was getting ready for another title fight, and I'm one of those guys that gets addicted to training or addicted to being the best. Um, why I stupidly did what I did, but yeah, I've used that as well as really getting myself into a business. I'm actually really excited here. Next week, I get to open up my first clean juice store. Clean juice is a USDA approved organic franchise that started in the East Coast. So I'm bringing to Southern California, and my store opens up next week, which is pretty exciting. I've been working my ass off to get that done, as well as I push it to the next level. And I'm the area developer for Southern California, so I'm looking to open 63 stores from San Diego to North LA. So
Whoa.
to say the least, I've definitely kept myself busy. Tried to push for the next goal.
And where's the first one opening?
It's opening in Yorba Linda, where I'm living and where are close to our gym. It seems like this area that makes the most sense for me. But like I said, we're going to start from San Diego, go to North LA, and look to open up in like 63 stores.
Can I, what you mentioned the interview with Chael, which was great, and I thought it was a really fascinating conversation between two people who admire each other. That was back in June. One thing that I was wondering about, and I'm wondering if you'd be able to share, when you got the phone call, or at least were told about the positive test, what was that like? Who told you, and how did you react when you found out about this?
I got called from my manager, Tiki, and just devastating, but also had that thought in the back of my mind that I already knew that I fucked up even going into the fight, So wasn't surprised, but just life just turned upside down. Obviously, already dealing with a tough loss that I definitely believe I'm the better fighter, and a quick stoppage that I was thinking about, but all that just kind of went to the wayside when obviously this came out, and just not surprised but devastating. I remember I was actually at Whole Foods feeding my son breakfast, and just my whole world turned upside down.
Were you close to pulling out of the fight? And do you think about that a lot? Like, why didn't I just pull out of this fight if I was feeling sick?
Yeah, I mean, in my own head, I was right. I never told anybody about it. I never told anybody how I felt. I'm sure it was probably seen a little bit in some of my practice, just being super cranky and not having the energy. But like I said, like you said at the beginning of this, I wanted to do something that hadn't been done. I was looking to get a second belt at a lower weight class and cutting a lot of weight. I'm one to really back out of a fight. And so, yeah, but it definitely crossed my mind, and I'm obviously kicking myself in the ass now. But look, man, like there's no excuses. I was weak. I made a horrible decision. And I'm going to continue to say that I got to man up to it. I fucked up.
Have you been noting, when things like this happen, people try to kick you when you're down, colleagues, if you will, fellow competitors, fellow fighters. Are you writing a list of all the people who have talked about you and your situation, and are they part of the comeback? Do you have a list?
Oh man, my weight class is getting super exciting right now. Not I don't really care about the shit people are talking because it's understandable. Um, it's not kicking me when I'm down. I made a mistake. It'd be different if I was just down for some bad luck to say a bad luck thing, but this was just a bad decision. So people have talk as much shit as they want to, um, mouth me as much as they want because, in all fairness, I did make the mistake and I did it choosingly. So that is what it is. But I do have a hit list, and obviously, it's first and foremost is getting my belt back, the belt that I relinquished, the belt that I never lost a fight to. That's my so whoever has that, and I'm hoping Cejudo. That's the fight I want most. that I want to come back for. But we got Jose Aldo coming down to 135s. You got Frankie Edgar coming down to 135s. Obviously, Dominic Cruz is um, limping around somewhere, looking to get into that still. So it's super exciting stuff, man. I have the who's who to jump in there and to beat and to reclaim my name and to get back on top and to prove that I am the best bantamweight of all time and just continue to show that inside the cage.
Did you watch the vacant title fight in June between Moraes and Cejudo? And if so, what was that like for you to see guys fighting for the belt you had to give up?
I didn't, man. It was too soon. I hadn't been watching fights at all, really. There's a couple fights, and then me being involved in Juan Archuleta's fights, because I've been in his corner for the last 4 years, and then helping him get ready for his last fight, which is another shitty situation I'll talk about. But no, man, it was too soon for me to want to watch it. I saw the highlights, and it kind of went down the way I thought it would go down. Marlon Moraes, I don't think can push for those 5-round fights. I think he's too muscle bound. I think he's got too much weight he's cutting to make the weight, and probably not doing it the right ways. And then I thought the better fighter, but wouldn't be able to last. Cejudo's got that wrestler mentality that'll push no matter what happens. But yeah, not exactly how I predicted the fight go down, but I figured that's kind of the outcome that would happen.
What's the situation you're talking about with Juan Archuleta?
Oh yeah, Juan Archuleta. He had a super big fight. He was in that big tournament for Bellator.
Yeah.
He decided to fight the champion first, Patricio Pitbull, in the first round of the tournament, which we thought was a very smart idea. We could get paid as a champion all the way through the tournament, and I think Juan matches up with him really well. That was the first camp that we solely focused on Juan. Juan's been one of those amazing training partners. It's always been in my corner out, and just kind of being involved with my fight camps is what's made him so much better, and working with the coaches that I work with. But this camp was the first time we've really sat down in a week camp for him, got prepared for Patricio. And then the night of the fight, I showed up, and the commission comes back and tells me that I'm not allowed to be in his corner, that because of the fighter and for what I was suspended for, that I wasn't allowed to corner him. And that was 2 hours before the fight. And so for him to have to deal with that, I was his main coach. It's for him every day. We were game planning. I mean, Pitbull came out and was the exact fighter we trained for. And I can tell when Juan was out there, he was flustered. Everything was taken out from underneath him right before the fight. If Dwayne Ludwig was taken out of my corner 2 weeks before a fight, and we so focused for this, it would mess me up too. That's a mental mind fuck that shouldn't have had to deal with, that once again came from the mistake, and that one ate me alive, and I felt super bad for it, because that was his time to shine. It was his time to get the belt, and a decision that I made is going to continue to affect the people that I love.
Your old friend Urijah Faber is back. Is he someone that you'd like to fight upon returning?
Yeah, man. It makes sense, right? It's a big fight. I think he's got a very tough fight ahead of him right now. That I don't know if he's going to get through that one. It seems like a real tough fight for him to win. I think he's got a tough opponent that we'll see. But yeah, obviously that'd be a great one to continue to smash Team Alpha Male and show them how much better. And this decision I made to move was the right one.
And they've accused you of taking bad substance in the past. Can you say definitively that this was the first time in your career that you took something that was banned?
Absolutely, man. I've been under a microscope since this test. I got alerted from USADA that they went all the way back to when they first started testing. I think it was like the Sensao or the Cruz fight. I just got email after email saying that you have been tested, you have been tested, you have been tested. And they went back and retested all my old samples, obviously, which is completely understandable, to make sure that there was nothing that slid by. And yeah, man. Everything's out in the open. Like I said, I'm under a microscope, and I'm going to continue to be. I've continued to get drug tested left and right, which is completely understandable. But yeah, like I said, I got nothing to hide.
I really appreciate you doing this, TJ. And most importantly, we live in an era where someone gets caught, an athlete gets caught, and we're given a bunch of excuses, and this is why I did this. And, they try to bend the truth. You have done anything but that. You came out right away. You were the first to break the news, like I said, and you continue to sit here and own up to it. And I know this can't be easy. So I have a lot of respect for the way you're handling this.
I appreciate it. I was nervous to jump on this podcast, to be honest. But you got to deal with the head on, and I've done it the whole time. So I appreciate you saying that, and yeah, man, I can't wait to get back in there and show my fans that I'm still here to reign, and I'm going to be the champion once again. And I'm going to do it fast. I'm looking to fight a ton when I get back. I'll be 35 years old when I get back, and I'll definitely be hungry. So I'll be looking to fight as much as possible. And I want my title. I don't want a tune-up fight. I don't want to come back and need someone to tune up with. I want the best. I want to, like I said, those names I've listed off. I mean, I got the who's who to fight, and I don't want to take no easy fight. I'll be ready. Who I really want, who no one's even, I really feel like, is Mayweather wants a UFC star that's good at striking. I got a whole year to reinvent myself to become a boxer. I got the who's who in the boxing world. I can train with the Lomachenkos, the Terrence Crawfords. He ain't going to be able to wear me out and finish me because of my cardio. I think that's a very intriguing fight. I would love to get that Mayweather fight, not even for the money, just for the fact of proving us UFC fighters got what it takes to get in that ring. I think Conor McGregor did a great job of showing what we can do, and that our movements are awkward and that it's tough for them to deal with. And I've seen it myself in the boxing world. I go and train out at Joel Diaz's out in Indio. I've trained with the Lomachenkos. I've seen Terrence Crawford's camp. I think that would be a super intriguing thing to get involved in. And I got the time to do it. It'd be a lot healthier on my shoulders right now too. I'm ready to get back to hitting mitts, and that's what I want. You're here to hear first.
Okay. Wow. How about that? Dropping us with that bombshell right at the very end. Thank you for doing this, TJ. Good luck to you, and I hope you have a speedy recovery with the 2 shoulder surgeries.
I appreciate it, man. And I'll be talking to you here in a short amount of time. A year goes by fast.
All right. Yes, we look forward to that. So there he is, TJ Dillashaw. I've been bothering him for quite some time over the past few months. I very much appreciate him coming on, and honestly, I appreciate the way he's handled all of this. It really says a lot about him, and you can say anything that you want about the way in which he got caught or what he used, anything like that. But man, he has owned up to it every step of the way, and I do think that is important to note. He has put out the blueprint, quite frankly, on how to deal with something like this. So I think he should be proud of that. Hello, everyone. It's Ariel Helwani. I just came here to thank you for watching our ESPN YouTube channel. It's the best. You know what else is the best? The ESPN app. You can get highlights, analysis, all that stuff and more. And if you want premium content and live streaming sports, there's only one place for all of that. It's ESPN Plus.